This video demonstrates the end of round 6 and the beginning of round 7 in the mosaic thorn stitch pattern. Now the end of round 6, I am knitting and have been knitting in my main color, in this case the navy blue. I am knitting 3 stitches and then I am slipping 3 stitches, being the ones that were the 3 into 1 stitch on the prior round. So slip purlwise, slip purlwise, slip purlwise. Knit 2, 3, and rounding off that round 6, slip 2, 3. Now here I am at my beginning of round marker. And at the start of round 7, you will see an instruction to remove the beginning of round marker, slip 1 stitch purlwise with yarn and back, and replace the beginning of round marker. Quite simply, I will do that. Remove my marker, slip 1 stitch purlwise, replace my marker. And that is because our last stitch of round 7 is going to be the slip slip knit that has to happen with what was the final stitch of my round and what is the first stitch of my round. And those would be separated by this marker. So for the alignment to work, I needed to move my beginning of round marker, or beginning of round. So now what I do, and this will make sense as you go and you're reading your knitting and the alignment, what you will see is now that I have done that, the next symbol in my chart is to knit in my main color. I am now going to demonstrate the stitches that are in round 7, which are also in round 3 as part of the same video. So now I'm coming to the section where I have this 3 into 1, and I'm going to be knitting 2 together, slipping 1, and having a slip slip knit. So let's just look at what that looks like first. My 2 stitches, and you want to make sure that these 3 go in order so that it's a knit, a yarn over, and a knit. So with that first knit stitch and the stitch preceding it, I am going to knit 2 together. You can see that that leaves my contrast color, or my golden color, on top. The next stitch I'm coming to is that yarn over stitch, and I am going to slip that with yarn and back purlwise. The next stitch I come to is the third of the 3 in 1, and I want that to lay on top of the fabric as well so that the contrast color is seen. So in order for that to happen, I need to work a slip slip knit. I need to work it so that I am slipping the first stitch knitwise. I then slip the second stitch knitwise. And I now knit these 2 through the back loop. So either return them now to your left needle and knit through the back loop, or I do it all in one motion. Now, what you'll see, and what I do in order for this to look how I expect it to look, is I give a little tug down. See how that just tightened up that stitch so that it looked as I expected? And I now have these stitches in the contrast color with my knit 2 together, leaning to the right, my slip stitch purlwise, maintaining that vertical alignment, and my slip slip knit, leaning to the left, with that contrast color on top. So let's look at that again. In between, I am knitting 1 in my main color. Here I am where I'm going to knit 2 together, slip, 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 knit. And again, see how this first looks a little bit funny? You go, oh, maybe that's not what I was expecting here. If you just give it a little tug down, now you see your golden V, or your contrast color V. It's not anything you have to do, but if you are looking for peace of mind that these stitches are like you expect them to look, just give that little pull down, move your stitches down as you would with stranded color work, and advance the stitches on the left needle. Knit one in between. It's okay if you need to get your hands in here. You can separate these stitches so you're making sure you get them in the right order. You don't want to get them in the wrong order. Okay, you want to get them with the knit, yarn over knit order. So, 2 together, slip, purlwise, slip, knitwise, slip, knitwise, knit together through the back loop. Give it a pull down, it looks as you expect. Let's move along. Knit 1, knit 2 together, slip, 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 knit, and there you go. Now when you get to the final stitch of this round, as I mentioned, you will be doing your slip, slip, knit with what was the final stitch and what was the first stitch. And then when you start round 8, your first stitch will already have been knitted as part of this final slip, slip, knit. And you will have repositioned the marker to before the slip, slip, knit stitch.